Alright, so this is gonna be my first time disclosing my UFO experience on video. Um, I actually had 3 experiences, but I'm only gonna disclose one in detail. Quickly go over the other 2. Basically, you can check on YouTube and you can see how a lot of the UFO videos, they just show bright lights in the sky. I basically saw that, and I saw 3 lights, one right here, one right here, one right here, in the equilateral triangle formation. They tend to take on geometric patterns depending on how many there are. So one of those experiences, I saw 3 lights sitting as a triangle in the sky for about 30 minutes. It was just sitting there so long, I was like, I'm not gonna watch it any longer. This was at nighttime, and I was under the assumption it was a UFO because I've seen footage like that before, but you just don't really know when it's your first experience, you know? You just don't really realize it, I should say. You don't realize it because it's your first experience, but I was with a few others and we watched it for a while just to see what they would do, but basically they were hovering in their general location for about 30 minutes, altering, going up and down very slowly, but they didn't leave their general area, I should say. They basically stood in that triangle and they just floated there. They may have merged together and split up a couple times, but I don't want to try to guess what happened. I believe that may have happened within that 30-minute time span. So I had a experience like that twice, in 2 different locations at 2 separate times. So, and they were probably apart about a year or 2 years. Now, my 3rd UFO experience I had was an actual close encounter, and every time I think of this, it makes me tear up. So if I do tear up when I'm talking about it, it's just because it emotionally impacted me. So basically, I had a passenger with me. I'm driving my car. I won't disclose the location I was at for my own reasons, but I basically was in a remote location. I'm driving forward. I'm heading to the interstate because I'm heading home basically. So it's a 2-way. I'm going this way, and the other road comes this way, or it's a 2-lane street, 2-way, and I'm heading straight. I didn't hear anything. I didn't notice anything until it actually was above my head, within my windshield view. So I didn't see it out the windows. I didn't see it coming from behind me, but it obviously had to come from behind me, I believe, because of the path it was traveling and the path I was traveling. It looks like we were going the same way. There were tree lines on the side, on both sides. There's high trees, about 20 feet, 30 feet high. The UFO looked like it was about as high as a power line, basically. About 20 or 30 feet high. I could have thrown a rock at it if I was out my car on foot. I could have actually hit it with something. So basically, when it came within windshield view, I only noticed it because, so I'm driving, and I noticed it at the top of my peripheral, and I looked up, still trying to maintain my sight on the road because I don't want to crash, and there's no other cars on the road, no cars behind me. This is a remote area, no cars behind me, no cars in front of me, and it's about 7 or 8 at night. Could have been a little bit later. Definitely wasn't past 10 o'clock, I don't believe. So basically, I'm driving. It comes within view right here. I look up. Passenger also looks up. I'm noticing this in my peripheral vision, or my peripheral view. Passenger also looks up, and it was a brief moment. I'd say about zoom, zoom. So within those zooms, it's basically jumping. It wasn't making a sound. That's just my sound effect I make for it, the way it was jumping. But basically, it jumped in front of me, at the height it was at, but it jumped in front of me where I could see it in my windshield. And then, like, you just have to time if you can count the time, it was less than a second. Every time it jumped and stopped, it was less than a second. So if you could just count that space in between the jumps from the sound I make, that'll give you a idea of how quickly it would take off and from each stop. So let me get on with the experience. So I see it. He notices it. It jumps left. It's literally going like, so I'm going straight. It's a straightaway road. The tree lines also go straight. It's flying between the tree lines. I don't remember the size it was, but it definitely was able to fit my car. When it came within windshield view, first thing I noticed was the lights. There was no sound, so I wouldn't have heard it coming up. If there was a plane right there, that would have freaked the hell out of me. Excuse my language. Because the engine sound would be so loud. A helicopter would also be loud at that height, and it would be dangerous for them to fly at that height, especially between that tree line. So I'm going straight. It literally would, I can't recall I can't tell you the distance it was jumping because it was moving so fast. It was right here in front of my car. I'm driving straight. It'll go boom, 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 but in a diagonal pattern. So boom, stop, boom, stop, boom. It literally would stop and go. In a moment I seen it get in front of me, and then it did about 2 jumps. I floored my car. Instinctively, something would just like chase it. And in that same moment, my friend started hanging. We didn't say anything to each other throughout the whole experience until it was out of view, but we're gonna get to that. So about at the second or third jump, my friend sticks his head out the window to get a better view. I'm viewing it through my windshield the whole time to avoid crashing. So we see the lights, about 50 to 100 lights under the ship. It was basically in a round pattern. I didn't see the actual shape of the ship, so I'm not gonna speak on the shape of it, and I'm not gonna speak on the size of it, but I know it was able to fit my car inside of it with ease. But the light, it was like a circle, but 50 to 100 lights within that circle, if you can get what I'm saying. So we had a light right here, doom, 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 and a circle around that, a circle around that, a circle around that. The lights, the way they were flickering was all spontaneous. So basically, I saw all the lights with no general pattern at all, no pattern. It was just spontaneously, as if you can flick a light switch. If you can imagine, all those lights had their own light switch. So imagine you got 50 to 100 people just flipping light switches on and off randomly. Nobody's doing it in a unique pattern, in any type of pattern. They just all flipping those switches randomly. That's how I can explain those lights flickering. But that basically caught our eyes. It was white lights, and then it's jumping. As it's jumping, the flickering is like it's coinciding with the jumping, kind of. I can't really explain it. You'll have to see something like that to really get a full understanding. So it's and going diagonally, and I'm flowing my car. I'm topping out the speedometer at this point, basically. Couldn't keep up with it. Like, I've never seen anything fly like that. I don't know if I can call it flying, because it'll jump and hover, and it will hover long enough for me to see that it's hovering and not flying. It's not pulling in air and pushing itself or anything like that. No motors, just jumping, hovering, jumping, hovering, jumping, hovering. Probably jumping about 40 feet each jump. It may have been jumping about 30 to 40 feet each jump, something like that, diagonally. So it was moving pretty rapidly in a diagonal pace, but going on a straight path. So I'm going on that straight path, and doom, 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 I start chasing it. And as I'm chasing it, I'm like, whoa, I just can't catch up with it. And we're basically heading to the interstate to get to my house, and it's going that same way, and it crosses over a bridge. Basically, the interstate crosses that I was taking is led to, it's a bridge, going over the water. So my turn was a left. The UFO went straight. It oh my God. But it was going on a straight path, but diagonally the whole time until it went out of view. Crazy experience. I made it through without tearing up. But yeah, that was my close encounter. When I saw that, I just knew that's not any man-made technology. This was in 2012, 2013. I mean, the moment it flew over me, that's when I had the most emotional impact. I was like, what the hell is over my head? And then after it went out of sight, me and my friend looked at each other. He said the first words. He said, "Did you record that?" I said, "Did I record it?" I said, "I was driving. Did you record it?" He said, "No, I was too busy looking at it." I'm like, oh my goodness, you gotta be kidding me. I mean, you know, you just don't expect those things to happen, and like it was all spontaneous, and then as fast as it was going, I mean, if you would have looked down, we had it within sight for at least 20 to 30 seconds. Definitely no more than 45 seconds, because it was just moving so fast. And I literally maxed out my speedometer on that road. There was no cars, so it was safe. I'm not saying to speed on open roads, but in that type of situation, that's almost a once in a lifetime experience for many people. Others may have had many encounters, but for me, that was I wasn't expecting to have another experience like that anytime soon, and that was about 8 or 9 years ago. But I mean, I had the most emotional impact. Had the most emotional impact on me when it literally came over my car, and I see all the flickering lights, about 50 to 100 of them flickering on and off, not at the same time. Like it was like Christmas lights, jumping. I'm just chasing it. It's like, oh my goodness, nothing like that ever happened to me ever again. But I did have the experiences where I saw the triangles in the sky, the separate orbs. It wasn't a whole UFO that I was seeing in those other experiences. It were literally separate orbs, and I was able to distinctly see that. I think I'm going to get me a telescope now and some high power binoculars, since recent interest has been increasing on UFOs, and especially since the government has disclosed that they're actually real. I never spoke about it to anybody because at that time, all the way up to recent times, I just started talking about it within the last week or two with people. Even me and my friend, we never talked about it until like 2 weeks ago. And he was like, I just brought up the UFO subject because I was gonna ask. I was like, hey bro, what you saw, bro? Like, cause we never talked about it, but we know we both saw a UFO that day, and I thank whoever flew over me and blessed me with that experience. Hopefully the U.S. has many more of those in the near future. Especially me, I'm open to it, honestly. I don't care about being a non-believer or believer. It's being an experiencer. That's what really matters. When you experience it, nothing could take it away from you. I'm telling you, every time I think about it, I literally tear up. Like if I think about it in deep detail, just because how it affected me. So that's that, y'all. That's my UFO experience. I may or may not disclose this video in the near future. I'm not going to release it right now. I think today is like August 10th, I believe, 2022. Definitely not going to release it right now. I'm just getting this on video in case I'm feeling open to it. I still don't feel comfortable talking about this openly with people because it's still a sketchy, it's an iffy subject. It's an iffy subject with others. But if I know anybody else who had experiences, I wouldn't mind sharing it, but y'all wouldn't know until I actually release this video, if I do release it. So that's that, y'all.